Hello guys, it's Mary here again. So if you're a language teacher, you know that all great lessons are going to start with a fantastic warm-up activity that can put your students straight into English mode. And sometimes we go crazy looking for the most creative activity, very fun warmers, when actually there are some very simple ones that can be used, and they've been around for many years and they do work very well. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing 5 activities that require no preparation. So let's say you're having a bad day, you're in a hurry, you didn't have time to prepare the lesson properly, so you can just use one of these activities. Or maybe you finished your lesson but you still have some time left, so you do need an activity just as time filler. All right, so let's go and look into them. So first activity I love using as a warmer is the Hangman using the native phonetic alphabet, also known as the International Radio Telephony Spelling Alphabet. So for the ones that don't know this alphabet, this is actually very useful, to prevent spelling mistakes or miscommunication. So especially when people from different countries with different accents are talking to each other. So let's say your student is living in an English-speaking country, they have to talk to someone on the phone and they have to spell their email in Japanese, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and of course it's probably going to be very hard for the another person to understand, so they can spell using this alphabet, so they make sure they are not going to be misunderstood. So I'm going to say, for example, well, my email is T for Tango, E for Echo, A for Alpha, right? So very useful. And then we've got the Hangman, which is a very old game. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm talking to an advanced student and I want to start the class with a phrasal verb, right? Because we are talking about some phrasal verbs, collocations, expressions, this kind of stuff. So let's just start with a phrasal verb. I'm going to draw, oh my God, right, not very straight. I'm just going to put a phrasal verb here. Right, so yeah, just let's pretend it's beautiful, and I'm going to give the student a tip, of course, a clue. So basically I'm going to say, look, this is going to be a phrasal verb, and oh Jesus, phrasal verb, and the meaning of this phrasal verb is to cancel something, right? So just give me letters, use the native phonetic alphabet, and let's try to guess it. So the student is going to say, well, let's start with A for alpha. So I go, okay, so you're right, yeah, there is an A here. And what else? So U for uniform. U for uniform, though we don't actually have one. All right, so let's start drawing yourself here. Okay, so the goal is not to kill the student. Let's just have this clear. The goal is for them to understand the use of this alphabet and at the same time to learn something new or to review something. So maybe you taught this phrasal verb before and you were just having a review, a recap. Okay, so the end of the game, very smart guy, he wasn't killed. So yeah, the phrasal verb was to call off, and then you can ask the student just to give you examples with this, right? So let's try to put this phrasal verb into a context. So the meaning is to cancel, so you can call off a meeting, you can call off an appointment. So give me sentences or tell me about the last time you had to call off a meeting and what was the reason. Okay, so you can really get the student into English mood and he's going to be interested and it's going to be fun at the same time. Okay, simple but efficient. The second activity is fortunately, unfortunately. So first thing here, these 2 words are very likely to be mispronounced. So make sure your students know where the stress goes and how to pronounce them. All right. And then you are just going to write a sentence, any sentence. So for example, let's say I'm going to say, she went to the library yesterday. I love talking about the library because most students, they mix this with bookshop. So they think library is the place you go to buy books, and it's not. So you can explain this to them. And then the game is amazing because it can go on for hours, days, months, years if you want. Okay, so let's say she went to the library yesterday. I'm going to start and the student is going to understand the activity. So she went to the library yesterday. Fortunately, the library was open. So it's going to be the student's turn and they have to continue with unfortunately. So maybe they're going to say, unfortunately, I couldn't find the book I was looking for, and then I go. Fortunately, I had money to go to the bookshop and buy it. And the student is going to say, well, unfortunately, when I go home and I started reading the book, I didn't like it. Okay, so you can just go and go and go, and you don't have to be talking about the library for 2 minutes, because I just got home. So fortunately, my mother was there to talk to me. Unfortunately, she was very moody. So we had an argument, and then the story can just go on and on and on. Okay, very nice way, because they have to be creative. They can practice fluency, and at the same time, of course, as always, you're going to be working with emerging words. So if they don't know a word, you can just, create your box here and put some new words here, discuss the words afterwards. So let's say, for example, they don't know what an argument is, right? So you just put your stuff here, don't interrupt the story, and then you can go back to the words, to the new words, talk about them, discuss other stuff, and the student is going to be warm. The third warmer is teach me something. I absolutely love this activity for loads of reasons. It works really well. So your students probably are different. They've got different professions, different hobbies, or they're studying different stuff. And so basically what you're going to do is ask them to teach you some of the things that they love. So, for instance, I've got students that they love fishing, and I know nothing at all about fishing, really. So if I had to go fishing tomorrow, I wouldn't know where to start from, okay? So basically, they are going to tell you everything about it. So how can I choose a place to fish? What materials do I need? Well, it depends on the weather, or I don't know, what is the likability of getting, fishing good fish. I don't know. I don't even know the questions, for fishing, because I know nothing about it. So they have to teach me, and it's fantastic because they feel they're talking about something they're passionate about, and this makes them forget they are in an English class. They are just sharing with you their knowledge, and they feel very valued when we do that. So if you've got a student that is a hairdresser, maybe you're going to say, well, what do you have to take into consideration in choosing when changing your hair, or what do you do? How do you know that this hair can be bleached, the another one can't? Right? So if it's an engineer, well, just teach me something, or tell me about your day. So one of the tasks that you've done today, just teach me, right? So very nice one, because it's very simple. They feel very comfortable talking about it, and you can also do it with the English language. So for example, I do have students that are preparing themselves to be English teachers, so I can say, well, so today you're going to teach me the articles. How would you teach the articles to a new student? Or if I were a 5-year-old girl, how would you teach me the animals? Okay, so very, very interesting. Just as interesting as activity number 10, an oldie but goldie, name 10. Right? So if you've been teaching for a while, you probably heard of this activity because it's been around for many, many years, but it works. It still works very well. So if you don't know it, basically you're going to give your student a topic, and you're going to ask your student to talk about 10 things related to the topic. So as an example here, I've got fun things to do on a Saturday. So I don't usually give time for the students to say these 10 things, because the goal of a warmer is not to put pressure on people, but you can do it. If you are using this activity as a time filler at the end of the lesson, for example, maybe it's a good idea, to give them 30 seconds or 1 minute, and it's going to be a bit more challenging. But as a warmer, I just ask them, okay, so give me 10 things. 10 fun things to do on a Saturday. They are going to say, well, I can ride a horse, I can go for some ice cream, or I can go to the cinema. And the nice thing is you can talk about the things they are talking about. So you go, oh, so you love going to the cinema. So what was the last time you went to the cinema? Or what was the last time that you had an ice cream, right? So you can use this to talk about other stuff as well. Right? So that's another thing. If they don't know 10, help them, okay? Because it's about having fun and relaxing and getting into the English mood. It's not about testing them and getting them more nervous, all right? And the last very simple warmer is word association. So this is another very old one, but remember that sometimes, the simplest things, they can turn out to be surprisingly effective. And you don't have to be overcomplicating your life as a teacher always, So if you don't know this activity, you're just going to give the student a word, and the student needs to talk or to give you another word related to the first one, connected to the first one. So let's say we are talking about the environment. So I'm going to give the student the word bottle. They can say, for example, plastic. I can say recycling. They can say environment, and I can say trees. Okay, so you have to be creative as well, because you have to participate. And this is a good thing, because sometimes you're going to say words that they don't know, so you can take advantage of it and teach a new word, or maybe the pronunciation is not correct. Okay, so you can just stick to a topic, or you can just talk about other stuff as well. Okay, so that's it. I really hope these activities help you save time when planning your warmers. Okay, so if you like my channel, stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about TEFL courses very soon. Give me a thumbs up and obviously subscribe. Thank you, guys.